Practice. Well, guys, welcome back to my channel. So my name is Jay, and I'm a photographer and videographer for the. Oh, guys, what? Wow, my voice. Hello, guys, welcome back to my channel. 네, 여보세요. 예. 저기 병원 예약 좀 하려고 전화드렸는데요. 네.
Well, this is kind of new feelings again. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jay. I'm the photographer and the videographer in South Korea for architectural stuff. And the first thing first, thank you so much for supporting and cheering me up, especially you guys who left the comments. And thanks to that, fortunately, I finally got healed enough to move my mouth after surgeries. I still feel like it's not natural when I talking, since I got a surgery around my face. But I still need to, and anyway, I still need to go a lot more to get my full health back. I'm actually reading the script because it's been quite a long time. But I really try not to read in the script because it feels like I'm reading a book. Anyway, I'm so glad to be able to talk again. Anyway, I'll talk about myself, the episode of what happens, and what you must know when you travel to the South Korea, especially when you're faced to the situations like what I had to avoid outrageous bills. Do I have the bills? Oh, accidentally I have the bill papers right next to me. So I stayed like 12 hours at the emergencies in South Korea. They charged me $1,500, give and take. Excuse me. This is not surprising if you guys are from the America and Australia, especially like a Western country, because I remember that my mom stayed there emergency 1.5 days in Australia, and they charged my mom like 1,700 Australian dollars. Of course, after she came back to South Korea, she got a fully back from the insurance company. This is why you have to have like a full insurance when you travel to the another countries. You never know what's gonna happen. Oh my god, they charged me like 700 for the CT scan. What else they charge? A laboratory test. This is probably the blood test and diagnostic image. This is probably the X-ray. The $140 somehow. So I got covered by the insurance company, so I paid like $1.50 for that. And so this is kind of the suggestions. You might want to have like a full insurance when you travel to this other country, not just only the South Koreas. And I also talk about the episodes, what you must know when you come to South Korea on TikToks or whatever it is. That was like crazy accents. Anyway, back to the today's topic. Is a quick disclaimer. This is a third script. Actually, this is more than third script. I changed again and again after testing, because this is not easy to say where this going, since we live in the pretty complicated time now. As always, this is 100% my own thoughts and new about the new tools. And as you guys know, this is mostly from architecture camera guys' point of view, my perspective. So if you're the portrait photographer, if you're nature photographers, maybe that idea is a difference. But since I'm doing architectural stuff, most of the content is all about the architectural photographer's perspective. So I just want you to know. Can I drink the waters? Now, these days, hot issues, and everybody talks about these, which is AI, during the past couple of weeks. So I first watched the AI news, not AI news. They first watched all the people talk about it on the TikTok about these tools and AI. A month, one month and a half, 1.5 months ago. I'm sorry, 1.5 months ago, which is right before I took a surgeries. So as you see the news, they are pushing the AI a lot. It looks like everything is called AI. The stock market is waving a lot, especially in NVIDIA, NVDR. And my question is, why they trying to convince us to accept the AI? Anyway, back to the topic, today's topic. Let's talk about the generative fills and the remove tools in the Photoshops. By the way, the someone has no time. In this video, I will explain what they are, how I tested them, and also talk about a couple of issues I faced. And I will guess what's the catches and finally my own conclusions. So this is not just about how to use it or the skill video. Basically, what you're gonna hear are my thoughts and my experience from my test on these tools. By the way, I hope this fan noise doesn't bother you a lot, because since it's summertime in South Korea and since I'm using the camera and the lighting, so I had no choice to turn on the air conditioners, and I kind of lost the remote controls. I can't adjust the power of the wind. Explanations. Before we start, let me show you a little bit of what you can do with these tools, with the general fill and the removing tools. Show the before and after. Okay, I'll show the before and after. So this first image I tested out, which I captured with the drones. This is a pretty important part, the drone. So what I did was clean up the rooftop of this building and this build. Am I recording? Sorry. this roof, and clean up the behind the hills of the building. Main object is the white shapes of the house. Is it the house? It's called. Can it be called the house? House. The architecture is motivated by the shapes of the pianos, like grand pianos. So that's why it looks like a grand piano, by the way. So I clean out these area and add up the subject, which is a girl with the dogs. Of course, the Adobe missed the details. It's supposed the leash from the dog's neck is supposed to be connected to the girl's hands, but it's just test image. I can draw it back to it again if I want to use for my clients. When I zoom in, it looks fine, perfectly fine. I don't really care about about the details around the hills area, but it looks really fine when I zoom out. And if you take a look at the roof, the chimney is gone. And what I like you to take a look at this on this the image. It's one thing is the perspective, and the second thing is the lightings, and the third thing is patterns. So this image happened to be included all three things. So since it's captured by the drone, it's the height of the camera position is pretty high, right? So according to the camera positions, Adobe calculated the perspective and added the objects correctly. That's just the managing part, including the proper lighting situation. So I'm pretty sure that this one captured around the dawn time, like 6 to 7 p.m. ish. So the lighting almost correct, and the perspective is also perfect. And let's take a look at the chimney part. If you take a look at the chimneys, the perspective and the textures, the pattern is almost perfect. Maybe this is why the people keep saying that this is a scary part. All right, let's take a look at the next image. So basically, what I do for the image is declutterings to empathize our main subjects, to make the audience focus on our main subject, right? So we don't want to see the the unnecessary objects in our photos. So I clean up the power line here. I clean up the traffic lights as well. But what I want you to look at here is, well, I clean up the building right next to it. Our main subject is of course, that buildings. That building, that building. I don't know what you can see at that buildings, white buildings. So what I want you to take a look at here is these reflections. The reflections probably comes from the opposite side of the road. So I roughly make selections around these reflections, and I press the generate fill buttons. And the Photoshop automatically generated the sky reflections according to next to the sky. So look at how naturally draw the Photoshop according to the around the selections. And also take a look at the sky standing next to the tree right over here. So I removed this guy, including the back. What is that? The car blocking stuff right here, the black and red yellow stuff. So I draw the selection around him, and Photoshop automatically calculated the distance between the lines here. The line, the yellow background and the lines there, and then automatically calculated the distance between that, and draw it looks naturally. Because the Photoshop makes the patterns on the street a little bit, because maybe I need to press it again. But look at how naturally Photoshop draw the image, like produce the new area. And I adopted the two ladies on the street crossing the road, which is not really perfect because is it green light? Now the cars are about to crossing the drive the road. So the Photoshop missed the details about around the tree area, but I didn't really mind. And let's take a look at the next image here. So I clean up this looks kind of power line, whatever the line is. I clean up the line here, and I was trying to add up the vine between these material on the buildings, but it didn't comes out from the exact middle of the two materials, between the two materials. But what I want you to look at here is this one. So I wanted to remove this sign here, and I roughly selected the sign around the sign area, and look how naturally almost naturally draw the line according to the perspective. It's not perfect, but almost perfect. And look how naturally the Photoshop draw the this street area too. And also look at this area. I clean up the power line around this area. If you take a look at the zoom in, you can see that there is a little bit the patterns are a little bit crashed a little bit, but since this is not our main subject, so I don't really mind if I zoom out. You don't really notice that, but I just pressed the once of the generative fields buttons. So look how naturally reproduce the patterns, backgrounds of the patterns to when I clean up the power line. It's almost natural. When you zoom in, you don't really notice that since this is not our main subject. What about the next one? Do I really have to see the next one? Oh yeah, this one. So I change the light, I replace the sky and some colors and something. And what I want you to look at here is this one, window area. So I draw the selections around the window area and I type in European styles. What is it? European style? I don't know. European style, the store or something. Through the window. So Photoshop generate the window, including with the reflections. This is the amazing part. It also can reproduce the reflections, and I don't know what. I'm not sure. Maybe only for this image or that accidentally happened, but I feel like the Photoshop generate according to the light, so I can see that since this is a dark area, this is a little bit dark and this is a little bit bright, as you can see according to the light here. And the reflection is a little bit brighter than here, and the reflection is darker than the left side, right? If you want to do this in traditional way, you first you need to have the proper skills, and you need to have the more times to match the perspective and to match the lightings. And you probably need a stock image. You need a stock image as well. But Photoshop done it with a one click. How would you compete that with doing the one click? But I'll explain the catches in very soon. But this is an amazing job. And there you go. Last examples. So I did it from this original image. This is probably I merged the two images, like a vertical and horizontal image. And I probably didn't use this part as well. Maybe they used some other photo as well to remove this person right here. But I like you to take a look at this area. These signboard piles, lighting piles, whatever it calls. I removed the sign here, and look how naturally the Photoshop generated background the building according to the perspective. Look at the line here. It doesn't go straight like this way. It goes this way because of the perspective. And what I did was oh, by the way, I don't think I did it at once. I didn't select the whole this sign piles and press the generative fill buttons. I'm pretty sure I selected one by one and recreate the image. So what I did next was I removed the couples here, and Photoshop, I don't know whether I made this big selections right here, but the Photoshop missed the reflections, but I'm gonna remove the anyway. The Photoshop removed the reflections here. And what I did was, yeah, I removed the reflection this part as well. And if you want to take a look at the sorry. If you want to take a look at the patterns, like the cotton patterns, it's almost perfect. See, to remove the reflection of the glasses. So look at how naturally we produce the image. Photoshop reproduces the image with using the generative fields. All right, next part. So the generative fill is a tool you can basically create anything you want with the simple words, or let it do the job without the word. Without a word, you can just make a selection and press the generative fill. It automatically calculated what. Normally for declutterings, for my case, I normally use the declutterings, both of the tools, and the removing tool is also AI calculation based. I assume that for the declutterings for my test, but I found the generative fill does a better job for the complicated area, which is the power lines or the signboard, or which is showing comparison. Yes, I'll show the comparison. Where is the comparison? There you go. Comparisons over here. My first comparisons to using the generative fill to remove the design here. This one looks very naturally. Take a look at it around this reflection area. This is removing tools. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Removing tools. Take a look at this part. And here, removing generative fill, removing generative fill, and this is the original. See, so the complete. Let me show the one more thing, one more part. Oh, there you go. So this is using the generative fills. Look how naturally generated image according to the perspective. So if I turn on the removing tool, the surface of the pattern is almost not natural. But if you take a look at the generative fields, it's almost perfect. And let me show you the another part here. Where is the part? There you go. So I used this is original image. This is original, right? No, this is original image. I selected it here to remove these the things here, and I used the removing tools again. Removing tools also do the great job, but regarding this perspective, take a look at this bottom line here. I think the generative fields does the better job, does give the better result, I guess. Take a look at the bottom line here. This is removing, this is generative fill, and this is originals. You see the differences here? Removing and generative fills. Okay, the main difference is one needs to be always connected to the network to use their asset. I think this is the main part, to use their asset. Okay, the simple tips for how to talk to the generative fields is you want to talk to like when you talk to the child. So the simple word works better. For someone who willing to use the ChatGPT, I tried it, but for now, well, in past couple of weeks they update a lot. I feel like the other updated the generative feel like every 2 weeks, I guess. But anyway, I tried the ChatGPT but for now the simple word works better, at least from my experience. A basic guideline from the Adobe's, you can find the link down below. I adopted the links down below if you want to read it, which is this. Do I have it? Oops. Here you go. Experience some things. Right. Well, that was pretty long, so I try to speed up from now. Right. The issue part. The couple of issues I faced when I'm testing the new tools. The first thing is a blurry result. I thought that was not because of the size of the selections, but because of whether they got enough data to reproduce your image. But since they keep updating now, I think my speculations was pretty like 80% wrong. I think it is the size of the selection. So if you have the big image and the big selections, the Adobe most likely give you the blurry image. And the second issue that I have is people's face. I think it is related to the license issues, I guess, since we need to use the stock. Obviously, we can't use the normal general people's face without permissions, right? So I think this is pretty much related to the license issues. So if I give you the examples, I generated the two ladies. What is this one? Okay, I generated these ladies, and if you zoom in, you'll see that the face is not really clear, is not really pretty. So for now, if you like to use, but you can't really use the commercial for your commercials. So anyways, so for now, the magic word is show their backside. So whenever you try to put it, add the peoples, you might want to type in show their backside. So I always use when I test the image, I always use this type in the show their backside some things when I add up the people in my image. By the way, I'm not sure whether I'm gonna use this video to this part to the video, but let me roughly explain how I clean up this area. So this is original image. So if you selected the whole area of this sign stuff, you want to get rid of this one. So I try to create the one whole selection and press the generative field, and it got me. Look what it got me. It looks like this. It's not clean enough. If you zoom in, you definitely need to do the more than one time using the generative field. So what I did was I did one by one. So that was like how many layers? So 1, 2, like almost 20 layers. One by one, I clean up the where is it? I clean up the these area. So I I think that's the more than 20. So first time I clean up this signboard, and the second thing I clean up this signboard, and the third thing I clean up that area, and this area, and this area, and this area, and then it's basically creating the new image with the generative fields. This is exactly how I do in traditional way when I try to remove the unwanted object in my image. So it takes pretty much the same time for now, but for someone who is lazy, just want to press the button which is generative fields, it's working anyway. Anyway, that was the example how I removed the piles of the signboard. So next one is selection. So selection is tricky. Did I mention this one? Selection is tricky. What I mean by that is that, let's say you want to create this area. Hold on, where is the final image? There you go. So let's say you want to create these two rabbits in the grass. So what I did was try to make the selections you want to express for your new objects. So try to draw the rabbit's ears like this, and try to give it the directions of your face and their bodies. And from these selections, the Adobe got me this rabbit's area. And the next selection I drew like this, 2 ears, and the face trying to look at the right hand side, and the body should be somewhere around here. And what I got here from this selection is looks like this. And next one is two selections. So I wanted to put in the two rabbits. So I draw like 2 ears like this, and body shapes should be like the positions like that way. And so what I got from that selection is it looks like this one. It's almost what I wanted. I wanted to make a look at it and looking together, look each other. By the way, if you want to put in the animals other than people, although we got me give you a proper face, I guess. And from next selections, so individually I made a selection to add up the two rabbits in my image. So I draw like 2 ears like this, and the body is like this. And from that selections I got looks like this. What I got looks like this one. A little bit smaller than my selections, but the position and the directions of where they're looking at is almost the same as the way that where I draw it with the selection tools. So if you want to add some things, you might want to imagine first how what kind of shapes, the shapes you want to the shapes or the directions or probably the shapes you want to add up into your image, and imagine first and draw the selections according to your imaginations, and press generative fields, and that gives you most likely what you I'm talking about the shapes, what you wanted to add up to your image. All right, next one. Size of a document will surprise you if you stack out. So if you say you are using the 8K of the image, and if you do that, like what I did to remove these sign files, look at the how many layers I stack up for that small part. This will increase your file size a lot. So I remember that I used the 8K size of image files, and I used like more than 20 generative field layers, and it turned out the file size was like 7 or 8 gigabytes. after the generate. My computer is pretty decent, but the size of documents is quite a slow down to my systems a lot. All right, next one, the processing time. The speed of the processing time, say, since it's cloud-based processing, so you want to get rid of this part. Oh, yeah. Okay, let me draw it again. A little bit. Deselected. Go. Deselect a little bit here. There you go. So you want to get rid of these piles on the streets and press the general fields. What I'd like you to look at is a network speed and sending data and the receiving data. Let me explain it here. So Wi-Fi here. So what I want you to look at here is the sending data here and the receiving data. There you go. When I press it, sending up to, normally sending data speed is up to 10 megabytes. When I receive the data from the Adobe server, it goes up to the 35, depends on your image size, 35, but maximum 40. I remember the maximum was the 40. So the processing is not happening on your system. Actually, the processing is happening to their systems for free now. Their system, and you need to receive the data. So even if you have like a very high speed of your systems, that doesn't mean the processing maybe a little bit. The processing time is really not depends on your system. It really depends on them. Yeah, networks a little bit more the network system, network speed, I guess. That's the last issues I like to mention it. All right, wrap this up. I only concern the two factors regarding the new tools. First thing is, can it reduce my time? Yes, it does. But is it compulsory? Yes, it is. Oh, I accidentally say that. What's the same? Anyway, the same as always, I will pass that on to you. Yes/no. It really depends on what you are aiming for. What does this mean? It means it really depends on your client, your markets, what kind of market you are in now. The second thing is, how good is the result? Well, I like to put it in this way. If they will provide the better result and including the better processing time with the reasonable price, this is really important. I will definitely go for it. And why? It's not just how great it is, but I can save more. I can make more profit by the saving times. All right, the final part. I don't know how many times I record these videos. Okay, you can stop playing these videos right now, because from here, I will talk about something related to the AI. Something else I will talk about is something related to the AI. I appreciate that you guys are still here, so I will continue to talk about my own thoughts. So is this really good enough to replace the photo editors? Not yet. Well, I like to carefully say that it never will be. Well, I take this back. I need to survive as well. So not in a short time. I think that's the proper way to express this one. So not in a short time. There are two ways to make the possible. So one, we can actually make the new technologies. I'm talking about the AI. And the second one is we can make the people's minds narrow down and limited to the belief we made a new technology. Next, do I get afraid of the AI, new technologies? Well, what I'm really afraid of is people's will too much lean to the new technologies. This is a very important part. So once you are once you get used to it, it's really hard to get out of it. Generative fill is amazing tools, no doubt. If people start to accept that, I mean, your client start to say that, yeah, that's artificial image is okay. Well, that's the moments you, especially photo editors, not just photo editors there, but especially photo editors, start to lose their job because some will think that's a way to reduce their expenses. And will use the generative field all the time, AI all the time. That's actually happening in the if you go to restaurants, the robot serve the food for you, not the persons, right? Well, especially at least in South Korea. I can't cherish more how much it is important. Does that make sense? Important to have the eye to see your market, to survive your market. I'll probably say, I keep mentioning this again and again in other videos. But what I can guess is, let's think that in this way. Sony spent, do I have to say this one? The Sony spent that much time and that much money to be where they are now. And again, this is my own 100% own opinions, and I don't think they will drop that market that soon. I'm pretty sure that you guys know what I mean. But nonetheless, I actually enjoy the editing with the new tools a lot. It's more like having a new toys in my hands, and expecting the final versions a lot, really a lot. Am I missing something? The one complaint I have is the font size inside of the generative fill boxes. I really want to see it a little bit bigger, or at least that we can control the size of the font in the generative fill boxes. That's the only complaint I have. Since I'm getting old, I can't really see the small font. Anyway, I appreciate the guys. That's it for today. I hope you guys pick up some things what I accidentally said today, and please leave any questions related to this video or to something else in the comment section below if you guys have it. I appreciate again, guys, and see you guys in the next videos. Oh, I almost forgot that the gift I mentioned before, right? I was preparing something else, but it seems takes more time as always to be ready. So for now, I prepared my favorite Sky files for Sky replacement to someone who needs it. You can download it from my website. Alright, that's it for today. See you guys in the next video. Thank you.